I am Venki, and this is the Working Athlete Podcast. Here, I talk to working athletes from all walks of life and experts from various sports to provide you with inspiration, training tips, time management, and lifestyle advice. If this is something that interests you, please make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any future episodes. Today's guest, Deepa Nayak, is a Boston qualified runner, ACE certified strength and conditioning instructor, and a running coach. In this episode, we talk about her running journey of going from 4 hours 17 minutes to 3 hours 18 minutes for a marathon. We talk about her experience at three world majors, including running Boston and London marathons 2 weeks back to back. We also talk about her strength and conditioning routine, her race day nutrition, and her journey as a coach. Deepa's inherent humbleness and honesty shines through this conversation with her. I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did. But first, this episode is brought to you by Findbetter.ai. Findbetter is a social networking app for cycling and running enthusiasts to discover and shop together. For a cycling enthusiast like me, it is a treasure trove to find all sorts of bikes and accessories, both used and in new. I tend to get a lot of direct messages asking for where to find a bike on a budget, etc. Nowadays, I simply tend to direct them to the Find Better app. It is an app that is completely free to use and is available both on Google Play Store and the App Store. Download and you can follow me on the app as well. I am there on the app as Bikey Venky, Bikeyvenky. Now, enjoy the podcast. This episode is brought to you by The Bike Affair. If you are in search of a one stop destination that caters to all your cycling needs, our today's sponsor, The Bike Affair, is the perfect place to check out. I have known the founders of The Bike Affair, Krish and Gokul, personally for nearly 15 years now. In fact, my first century ride was with Krish back in 2008. They are both exceptional human beings and entrepreneurs that believe in providing exceptional service to their customers, and it shows. With over 14 years of experience, the Bike Affair has established itself as a trusted source offering honest advice and exceptional service. They are offering a special treat for the listeners of this podcast. You can enjoy a 10% discount on your first order by using the code BikeyVenky on their website. So if you are in Hyderabad, visit their store in Kondapur, or if you are anywhere else in India, shop online by using the link thebikeaffair.com. I will leave the link in the show notes. Now, enjoy the podcast. Welcome to the Working Athlete Podcast, Deepa. It's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Venki, for having me here. It's really my pleasure to be here on the show because we have been planning for this for so long, and finally the day has come.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we've been planning for I think since last October or something. Finally, we were able to make it, and now you have done couple of world majors as well in between. So
Yes.
a lot more to talk about.
We
So
were about to meet after Berlin, but now there are three done.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Super. So let us, before we go into, Berlin and Boston and London, let us take a step back and, talk about what was your, relationship with sport growing up.
Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely zero experience in sport. So this is how it was. Like growing up, no exposure to the sport. I think I used to just I used to play kabaddi with my brother. And I was fat, so I used to beat him up nicely. So other than that, in school, in high school, I was trying to get into one or the other sport. I used to go for selections. Like Coco was one of the main thing in the school. So I used to go for Coco selection every time, but I was rejected every time. Because yeah, I was not very agile and into running or anything. So every time I used to get caught. So I was always rejected from the team, and then so there was nothing else. I did not. I was not into any other sport, not even athletics. I don't remember anything. I was like, okay. So finally, I don't know how I got into running. It's mostly because of losing weight. I just got into running. Otherwise, there was zero relationship with sport. Not even playing, not even watching, not even following anything.
So losing weight, you said, I think most of us kind of get into some activity or the other with that goal in mind. But when was this that you know that started?
Yeah. So I was a little plumpy kid. I mean, since childhood, I was always plumpy. And there was one point in college when I thought, okay, I'm never going to get lean. I was not doing anything for it, but then I got a thought that, okay, maybe I'm never going to get lean. Let it just be like this. But I was out of my house I studied in Bangalore, and so of course the diet and everything makes a lot of difference. So I was gradually losing weight throughout my engineering years, but then after I got a job in 2010, and I thought, okay, now I think we should do something about it. Maybe there are so many people who go for jogging, they join gym. So maybe if I had done something like that, I can lose more weight. So that's how I started. Like I started jogging in one of the parks in Kormangla. So I was so from one round to two rounds to 20 rounds, so it just kept on going. I did not have any watch or anything to track the distance, but it was like I was just counting the rounds. So that's when one of my friends told, "You're running so much, also why don't you run TCS 10K?" It was just around the corner. So I said, 10 kilometers is a lot. Who will run 10 kilometers? I mean, are you crazy or something? I said, no, 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 there is a huge event happening. Didn't you see the posters everywhere? So it used to be like Punit Rajkumar's poster.
Right.
So he was like, okay, why don't you do this? I'm like, okay, we'll register, we'll both do together. So that's how I registered, and then that's when we started, running, and then I went into an event and then saw so many other crazy people.
So it was in 2010 itself?
2011.
2011.
2011. Yeah,
Right.
2011,
Yeah.
I got into this. Um, yeah, that was my first event, and I was not. After that, I was not very much fascinated towards running. It was good. It was a great event. I saw so many people, so many runners. I got inspired, but then I stopped running. Um, so I went into aerobics. So aerobic dance.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah. So because one of my friends pulled me, I tried to pull my friend into running,
Uh-huh.
and then she said, "It is kind of getting boring, Deepa. Why don't we join aerobics?" So I went and joined aerobics. So that is what I think that built a lot of stamina, endurance in me, doing that aerobics. So I've learned so much. I mean, so much about the exercise into that process. But then I did 110K every year till 2013. Yeah, so 2011, 2012, 2013, I did 110K. That's all, but not much of a training for it.
Hmm.
But maybe the aerobic, the dance that I was doing, so that had built me a lot of endurance, so that I could pull off that 10K easily. So from 2014 onwards, where I got so much into it, and then got into running club, started training for it. So that is when I would say my running journey really started.
Right, right. So you mentioned, started working. So what was work around that time, and how was your schedule?
I mean, typically into IT. Did electrical engineering, but then got into IT company. So I did not think about it much. It's like until and unless it's a job, it pays me. So I was fine about it. Uh, so job was and then I got into database testing. So initially there was a lot of learning. The freshers, how we are like all into cutlets, want to learn everything.
Right.
Yeah, going 9 o'clock. I mean, going to office at 9 o'clock in the morning. So, so initially, like I spent, like I was putting a lot of effort into my job. So to bond with the team, to learn more, to contribute something to the team. So I was doing a lot of things. So that is how my job was. Like I kept myself busy, and I was really liking it. I was really liking my job.
Right. So, and then you, in 2014, you said you joined a run club, and then running became more regular. How did the
Yeah.
progression from there?
So, in my previous companies, so there was one, so there was runner. So, he wanted to make a corporate team for a relay, 5 kilometer relay team. So one woman is necessary for that. So he saw me in previous year 10K event. He saw me that okay, I was also running. He said that okay, you're the only girl running in our company. So why don't you join us? I said yeah, 5 kilometers, right? It can be done. Then so we registered, and then he started calling me for trainings. Okay. So I said, do we have to train for this? He said, yeah, come for the training. So we used to run from, this Kormungla, Sony Signal to all the way to Damlur flyover and then come back. So he used to say, okay, today is the interval, tomorrow, today's tempo, today's long run. Every runs used to sound same for me. I used to do same in every run. I didn't know much of a difference. So, but he used to call me. I used to go for the runs. Then he started taking me to Wipro Running Club.
Mhm.
Hari Babu was a coach in Wipro Running Club. So I started going to Wipro Running Club, met so many runners. It was really interesting. Every Saturday going to Wipro office, doing the workouts, doing the drills, and Sunday going to Cubbon Park and then running there with the group. So that was like weekend was very interesting for me that way.
Right.
So I started loving that, being in the group. And then he said, after this corporate relay got over, I said, okay, we'll continue training like this. I am liking this process. So he said, okay, we'll go for Spirit of Wipro run, do 10 kilometers. So I did 10, and then I got the podium of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So that was my first podium. And Spirit of Wipro, amazing event. So when you're on the podium of Spirit of Wipro, it's definitely a different spirit. Okay.
Right.
So because so many employers clapping for you, so that is what I'm like, okay, this is something amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why can't I continue this? So that's when I continued with that running group. This
That kind of got you hooked.
yeah, completely.
Mm.
That's when I continued my training for running with that. So then I shifted to Sarjapur. Wipro was very close to me, so I never missed any session with them. So until 2015, I think 2015 October, I continued training with them, and then I joined Reebok Running Squad. So then I continued my training with them. So I think from 2014, June onwards, that's when I like kind of constantly training.
Right.
Constant training for running. Never took a break.
Mm. So, initially the 10Ks, and then when did half marathons and marathons come into the picture?
Half marathon came in immediately. So after doing that 10K in October, there was Bengaluru Marathon. And that was the first edition of Shri Ram Properties Bengaluru Marathon, I guess, 2014. So everybody was very much interested into that run. I said, okay, let me give it a try. We'll just do slowly. So one of my friends, Ankush from Wipro, so he said, okay, I'll pace you for the run. So we started running, and then I kind of liked that distance because 10 kilometer we were just chit chatting and then going, and the next 10 kilometers where we really ran. So I liked half marathon distances. So since then I was only doing 10K and half marathons up to 2018. So I was doing only 10K and half marathons. So I was very clear that until and unless I get really confident at half marathons, like very comfortable at half marathons, I will not go for a full marathon distance. So I didn't want to make a sudden jump in the distances. So that's why I just held it off until 2018. So I told my coach, Neera Katwal, see, once I get any podium and half marathon, that means okay, I'm really good at it. I'm getting comfortable at it. That is when I'm going to train for a full marathon. So she said, yeah, absolutely right. So that's when I think 2018. I think I got. Some run I got podium. I said, okay, now I'm going to train for this. So I trained for a full marathon for about 3 months. I trained. So first full marathon I did again Bengaluru marathon. I did my first full marathon there.
Okay.
So
So that is a great way to look at it, right? So instead of just jumping off, I know some people who have done 5K and fell in love with running and signed up for marathons. So
yeah.
uh, actually, it is like uh, you can take my own example. I don't instead of telling that to someone else, I actually signed up for my first marathon after running 10K or something. So and I eventually it did not happen because while training for it, I got injured, and
Wow.
that was that. But the way you have done is like a great way to do it, right? Get good at a particular distance and then look at
The next
going
level.
beyond.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I suggest. My trainees also right now that okay, so take time into the distance that you're doing. You have a lot of time. It's not a professional running that you run for like a couple of years and then you are done, right? So we are doing this. We're going to do this for lifetime. So you have a lot of time. So just take one step at a time. So no need to jump. So that's what I keep suggesting my trainees as well.
Excellent. So, what? So, 2018 was your
Yeah,
first
first full
marathon.
marathon.
So, how was that experience training for it and your first marathon
Yeah.
experience?
Training was good, so did a lot of long runs. It's very easy long runs and everything. So we used to do like one interval, one tempo, and then one easy long run. So that is how the process was. Um, so uh, yeah, but something that okay. So initially the expectation was no time goal, just finish it. Okay, so that is what I have decided. But then, when you start running, you feel really great in the first half. So that's when I really started taking off, yeah, I'm feeling great. I think I can do much better. I can. So, and then in the last 10 kilometers where the marathon actually start,
Right.
so that's when I really paid the price of, going too fast in the beginning. So I had actually spoken to this Pinto Mandal and who is Sumit. So we were pacing for 4:15. So I said I'll go with them, and then I started, going too fast. But then I thought, okay, I can do sub 4 maybe. In
Right.
the first
Yeah.
marathon. So that is what the thought process was while running. But then last 10 kilometers was really, really terrible. I thought I'm not going to do the marathon again. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought I'm not going to do it again. And I remember in Cubbon Park, there's this where we go near the High Court or something. We take a U-turn and then come back. There, I was literally crying, mummy. Like, I was like just crying. Okay, just let it get over. I'm not doing this again. Just so, uh, but I finished it in 4 hours 17 minutes.
Okay, a little
Something.
over the
A
four
little
four
over
hour
the
15
4 hours
bus.
15, yeah.
So maybe if you in retrospect, if you stuck with that pace bus, you would have maybe completed
Yeah,
a little
4 hours
comfortably,
something.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But first marathon, right? So
So learnings, right?
yeah,
It's a mistake that a lot of people end up doing. Like you said, the marathon starts in the last 10
true.
kilometers, and we might be feel when in the first half and all, we might be feeling like Superman,
It is.
Superwoman, and then like take off.
It is,
You kind of have to pace yourself for the long haul and
yes.
do that.
It took me a lot of marathons to learn.
Right. So, So now the 4:17 to now what is your PB, marathon PB?
318.
3:18.
Yes.
Wow. It's exactly 59 minutes
59
is
minutes, yes.
wow, that is something. Where was this?
It was in Berlin.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, Berlin. Um, so before we get into Berlin, so your first marathon, you were in tears. You remember your mommy more than once, and then decided marathon is not going to happen again. I'm not going to do it again. But what changed?
Cross the finish line.
Yes, that is the most potent drug, right?
Exactly. So once you cross
Finishing.
the finish line, then again, okay, what is the next marathon?
That wasn't so bad. Like,
Yeah.
what was the next one?
Exactly. I mean, the kind of high we get after crossing the finish line, the joy, it makes you sign up for the next one.
Right.
So,
That
immediately,
high is, there is no drug
I
like
know,
that.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So, right after finishing, I thought, okay, now TMM is coming up. Maybe I can do much better there. So, I signed up for TMM.
Right. So, signing up for TMM, were the learnings from your first marathon kind of implemented there?
Yeah.
Did you manage to pace well? How did the next few marathons go?
So next marathon 2019 TMM. Of course, my training went really great for that. I mean, I did a lot more long runs for that particular event, and so I did 406 in TMM, but felt more comfortable than what I felt in Bengaluru. So it was much better in that
Right.
way.
Yeah.
So I think I had implemented few of those learnings. I went slow and then okay started picking up. But finish was much more better. Enjoyed the entire course.
No more tears, no
No
more
tears.
calling mommy.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt like okay. I want to do this distance more. So
Right.
so it was much better in that run. And after that onwards, I think the entire training process completely changed. And then I think the way I trained, the way I ran marathon was like totally transformed.
So how did that change? How did the way you train and how did the whole process change from
So
there?
I took a different route of training, doing a lot of marathon pace runs, okay, long runs. So instead of focusing on shorter intervals, so started focusing more on tempos, more on marathon pace long runs. And so because of that, I did too many events leading up to the next marathon. I did leading up to 2020 TMM. So I did too many. I mean, every weekend I used to run the event at marathon pace goal. So that helped me, build that endurance in my mind as well. That okay, I can hold this particular pace for a longer duration. So that is how it had helped me.
So the events leading up to marathon or not marathons but shorter distances or
Shorter
even yeah.
distances.
Okay.
I think it's 25K, 37K. I think some half marathon was there, some 10K was there. So I started doing all of them. So from November onwards. So which helped me build a lot of confidence in the event, and also to make sure that okay, this pace is something that I can hold. So that kind of approach helped me. So for an amateur runner, doing intervals, okay, and especially for me, okay, I'm not speaking for everyone. So for me, so if I start doing a lot more intervals, I may get into that doing a short burst, okay, in the interval, going too fast and then burning out. So that's why I started focusing more on tempo runs. So coach Trace really helped me building this particular mindset, doing a lot more longer tempo runs. But a whole finishing strong in the long runs. So we did a lot of these for in the process of marathon training.
Okay.
So that's how I think the next marathon goal was 3:45.
Right.
Yeah, but I could finish in 3:30.
Oh, wow. So TMM 2020 was 3:30, is it?
3:30, yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So from the now let us come to world major experiences, right? So Berlin was in 2022.
2022, yeah.
Too, right? So how was the of course after TMM 2020, we all know what happened
Yeah.
in terms of pandemic and no events, mostly virtual events
Exactly.
and stuff like that. So let us before going to Berlin Marathon, how did you deal with that period of not many events? How did you kind of continue training? How did you stay motivated during that whole period?
So um after the pandemic has started, I think I had done NDM also 2020. So right after finishing in NDM and then came back to Bangalore. So that's when all this has started. But somehow, I think this entire period was a blessing in disguise for me. I didn't say for everyone, so it was horrible time for many. But then for me, it worked really well in terms of no, immediately after this pandemic started. So I started, doing a lot of home workouts. Okay, so home-based workouts. Okay, no gyms, that's okay. So I started doing a lot of videos, and then that's when Coach Reyes was he has started taking Zoom classes for Runners 360, and then he said, okay, why don't you take one class for us? So I started taking one. I took one class, and then he said, okay, so members like the class, so why don't you take one class every week? So that's how I started with the online classes.
Nice.
So that was, I think doing that Zoom class in that pandemic. First of all, it was completely new for trainers. It was completely new for runners as well. But somehow, we got into that, and then it was booming like anything. So we used to have like 180, 200 members attending the live sessions.
Right.
It
There
was
is something to connect with
Yeah.
others and also be active, right?
Yeah.
It was a time that was really new for a lot of us. When was the last time that we actually spent all the time at home, maybe as kids, and not,
I know. Yeah.
and that too out playing, but not holed up in a
A
room,
house.
right? Uh, but so that Zoom classes kind of helped a
Yeah,
lot
helped a
during that
lot
time.
to
Okay.
connect with people. So that's when there's something new has started. So, I mean, okay, preparing for the classes was one of the activities again. So office work was anyways there, and then house chores increased, because of all this. So I was kind of totally busy during that period. So I was not like free. So then that's when I thought, okay, so I was doing this ACE certification, and that was a good time for me to study and then finish the certification, give the exam. So the
What is ACE certification for those who don't know about it?
Yeah, ACE certification is it's American Council of Exercise. So it is a certification for somebody doing a personal training, somebody who wants to be a personal trainer. So it's a certification.
Strength and conditioning
Yeah, it's strength
certification.
and conditioning. So mostly the theoretical concepts of human anatomy, and then how do you take people into trainings. So these kind of studies, and then all these are explained into that. So I started taking that course from November onwards, but then I got a good time for studies actually during the pandemic. So I finished that course. I wrote the exam, and then passed in that exam. Finally became A certified.
Right.
Yeah. So and running, I never stopped running in pandemic. So I used to live in enclave. I mean, it's an enclosed area, so gated community, you would say. So where they had roads, and then we could run inside the enclave
Right.
because it was not a too crowded kind of a thing. So where there are like so many empty plots, only few buildings,
Right.
and then so we could run there. So people used to go for walk. People who want to run, so they could run. So I started running in that. So I was running almost, I think, I never missed anything. So I think initially when the lockdown was imposed for first 5 days, I did not run. I was just figuring out what to do, where to run. But then after that, I think I continued running. So after that, so when the lockdown was lifted, I used to go to HSR, continued my training, long runs and everything. So, so my group was pretty much active in
Okay,
running. Yeah.
that is good. That is good. So, coming to your first world major, that was Berlin, right?
Yeah.
So, what was your the preparation like leading up to Berlin, and what was the experience of getting PB there?
So Berlin, I signed up for Berlin 2020. Immediately, like 2019, few of my friends did. So I thought, okay, good chance to start a world major. So I had already signed up in, I think, December or January. I had already signed up and paid for it. But yeah, that's what, again, the lockdown, so it got pushed to 2021. 2021 was not certain with the travel, so I pushed it to 2022. So it was like I had a very good training block. So I did Jaipur in 2022 March. Again, after that, I took a short break for family commitments. And after that, I thought, okay, now from May onwards, I started my training. So I had a very, very good training block leading up to Berlin. So everything went really great as planned. So my runs were mostly in Kantirava Stadium or HSR, that's all. So, but I usually don't do a high mileage. Okay, so I was sticking to like 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers per week, doing my strength training 3 days a week. But that's what all quality runs. So while I'm doing only so much of mileage, so I made sure that okay, all are quality runs. So even if I'm doing a 30-kilometer long run, it has to be at a race pace. So I mean, I did not do I mean, very easy runs are shorter, okay, but long runs are harder.
Right.
Yeah, and that is what was my training principle. I mean, now also it is the same. But for Berlin, the trainings, I did a marathon in June, in Pune. Just to get that confidence of, again, the distance. So I did a marathon over there. That being a long run for me. And yeah, that was really good, pretty good. I did Hyderabad half, I did Ladakh. So I went and stayed in Ladakh for 10 days. um
High altitude training.
High altitude, I mean, in 10 days you wouldn't really get the high altitude effect, which is much needed for racing. But I just wanted some peace,
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, Ladakh is my favorite place. So I went there for a half marathon, spent some time with the group who came for running there. And then I just needed some, that time, calm time before going for a international run. So spent 10 days there and then came back and then flew to Berlin. So it was good. And racing experience, first world major marathon, and everybody's told so Berlin is a flat course. Very good, crowd support. Yeah, absolutely, it was there. So crowd was supporting so much that okay, I was so comfortable running.
Right.
Yeah. So it was a wonderful, wonderful experience actually running it. I was happy throughout the course. And that Brandenburg Gate is something, when you sign up for a run, you visualize few things. So it was there since the time 2020, since I had registered. That Brandenburg Gate was like so much in my mind that okay, I'm going to cross this gate, I'm going to cross this gate. So so looking at the picture of that, now and then finally I'm going through it, so much of emotions, flowing. So it was a fantastic experience for me. And my husband being there, supporting me, I mean, cheering for me at the finish line.
Oh yeah.
So it was fantastic.
Excellent. So did you go have that the time targets in mind before going into the race?
Yeah.
Did you kind of want to PB there? How did the pacing plan go for it?
So based on my training, what we decided was okay. I worked closely with Coach Reyes, and then he had laid out the training plan. He ran with me. He paced me in all the long runs. So based on how the training went, so we had decided okay, something 319 is should be the goal. Okay, I think 319 is possible. I mean, easily it can be done, achievable. So that is what was something in mind, and that's how I kept pacing. And I mean, this is what the pace target, and then right, first marathon experience.
Right.
So go slow in the beginning. So everything was going as per the plan that okay, we will be holding up to this particular pace up to this kilometer and then pace up. So everything went as per. I mean, I could have done a little more faster in the end, but which I couldn't in the last 4 kilometer, but which is okay. But I met the target that I already had in mind.
You bet the target.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, by 1 minute. So
Right. Awesome. So, after you PB'd there, and then so was that also the qualification for Boston? How's that?
yeah, that's actually Boston qualifier, but then I couldn't apply with the Berlin time because the Boston application opened earlier.
Okay.
It opened in the first week of September, so second week of September, and this was in the last week of September. Actually, somehow, actually, I had missed the Boston registration the last previous year.
Okay.
2022 Boston. I actually somehow I didn't know when the applications would open. I totally missed the registration dates, and then I missed it. And to qualify for 2023, I had to run one more qualifier. I mean, I had to qualify again. But that's what. So everybody said in the Berlin Marathon is a qualifier, and after that the Boston registration opens. You can go for it. But somehow I had the back of my mind that okay, why would I wait for September all the way? I mean, till the end to apply for it. Let me run a qualifier earlier. So that's the reason I went for Jaipur.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went for Jaipur for the Boston qualification, because I wanted to have that sure shot entry for Boston. That's the reason I ran Jaipur. So I had Jaipur and NDM in my mind, but then NDM kept pushing. So Jaipur was a little earlier than NDM, so I went for it. So I did 322 over there. So I was like, okay, so whatever the cutoff is. Now definitely there is a sure shot entry. So I had already applied it, and the day I was catching Berlin flight, that day I got the confirmation for Boston as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yes. So Boston is like, even there are other world majors, but Boston has a very special place for all the runners, right?
Right.
So how was that experience? Training for it and finally being there and experiencing that marathon.
Yeah. I'm getting goosebumps now, remembering
Right.
those Boston days.
Hmm.
So Boston, I think it's very special, first of all, because it's the oldest marathon, right? And very prestigious marathon. And also you have to qualify to get in. I mean, you don't have a lot of different ways for it. So mainly like maximum percentage of people go there with the qualification. So that is why it is very special race for everyone. And people in Boston, they celebrate it like a festival. Okay, for them it's not a race, it's a festival for them. Yeah. So I had this Boston in my mind for a longer time. I mean, since the time I ran my first marathon, I knew about this Boston qualification, and I used to keep checking, for my age category, what is the time? Okay, will I be able to meet it? I mean, after doing a 4:17 and 4:06, I was thinking, okay, how many years will it take for me
To get there,
get to 3:30? Either I'll have to age and then get to that Boston qualification, or I have to be really fast. So I used to keep checking on, BA website, the qualifying time. But somehow, yeah, in 2020, say in the last 12, 13 kilometers of 2020 TMM, I calculated, okay, this is going to be 3:30. So I had that calculation in my mind. I thought, okay, today I will run a sub 3:30, and then I am a Boston qualifier. that was, I mean, last 12 kilometers, it was, that's how I ran that 2020 TMM. So, for me, that getting qualified was very special. Getting into the race was it was amazing, because 2016 I went to Boston for my office work, and then going to finish line, looking at that, and then thinking someday I will come here, and then finally the day has come. I am in Boston. So, and then people over there, okay, everybody, they see you, they'll ask you, okay, have you come for Boston? And then if you say, okay, you are running a Boston Marathon, they would make you feel so
Feel so
special.
special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming for a Boston Marathon, okay, you're running this. So that is how it was. So throughout that trip, I was, in a kind of different zone. Okay, where am I? So start line, at the start line also, I mean, and the tagline is there, right? So it all starts here.
Yeah.
So Hopkinton Village. So it was all overwhelming experience. Like, okay, I'm here. I'm going to start this. So it is kind of a mini Olympics for us, right? So we cannot go into Olympics, but this is the Olympic for us. So it was really special being there, and then people cheering for you. And having this past history of Boston bombing and everything. They were celebrating, like, I mean, not celebrating in the sense, I mean, they were like having this memorial of 10 years.
Right.
So
Yeah.
this year, so visiting that place was kind of a different experience for me.
Right. Right.
Throughout the course, I mean, I had amazing feeling.
Mm-hmm. You were flying in that euphoria, I would think. Yeah.
Completely.
Right. So, was the pacing in terms of the whole experience of pacing and everything? Did it go as per the plan? How was the Heartbreak Hill, the famous one?
The pacing went really bad. Okay, so getting into the Boston training, I mean, Boston training it did not go well. I
Mhm.
mean, so
What
we
happened?
would plan for a week and then nothing go as per the plan. So that was like that. I mean, maybe if we had planned for like 50 runs, only hardly 10 runs would have gone as per the plan. Otherwise, everything went haywire. So until December 2nd week, so it was great. I mean, we thought, okay, we have this much of time, we'll do TMM as a training run. Everything was going well. And then December 3rd week, my dad passed away. I went
Sorry.
home.
Yeah.
And then so I did nothing for 3 weeks. Okay. And then came back. Somehow, all this shock, it puts a lot of effect on your body as well.
I know. Yeah.
So I was just not able to get out of that zone, and then training was really hard. Somehow I go for the training, I'm not able to execute my training runs.
Right.
So I ran TMM because I said, okay, I have signed up for this, I'm going to go there. Okay. So I ran TMM. It went well, but the training was not as per how one should train for Boston.
Right.
So we thought, okay, we'll just do as much as possible. It's okay.
Yeah.
No need to be tensed just because it's a Boston. We don't have to push so much.
Right.
This is what my body can do. I'll do that much. Okay. So even if it is a 3:30 in Boston, that's okay.
Right.
I mean, I don't need to prove anything to anybody, right? So that is what was my thought process in during the Boston training. So we went, by the day training. Okay, because the week's plan was not working at all.
Right.
Something or the other was going bad. So falling ill, something or the other thing was going bad.
No, I mean, we we plan a lot, but not everything kind of goes according to the plan, right? Life happens,
Exactly.
and an event like your loved one passing away, father, that is a big event, and
True.
it takes the emotional toll,
Yeah.
right? So dealing with that, and then trying to manage training and all that,
Yeah.
obviously you got to navigate one day at a time.
Exactly. So we started planning one day at a time. Okay, so this day I'm feeling like this, we'll do this. Okay, so that is how we started planning, and that's how it went. And on the start line, so that day I was literally again, I didn't have much of expectation. I didn't say that I didn't expect any personal best on that day. I thought, okay, let me just go by the feel.
Right.
And so pacing went really bad.
But you still managed, 322, was it?
Yeah, 322. The
Yeah.
pacing was really bad because that is not how I usually go for a marathon. So, but somehow, so I got, I mean, it's like 30,000 runners. Okay, you are in a huge pack over there. And if you're stuck between one pack, you just going to be there.
That
You just
pack
have to
is
be
going to
there. Yeah.
carry you.
Yeah. So somehow I got stuck with this 430 pace pack. And then I was just, I kept going on at 430, 435, 430, 435 pace, which I usually don't do. Initial, first, at least initial few kilometers, I go conservatively, but this one I kept on going and rolling hills, right? So
Right.
downhill was feeling great. I'm like, okay. So I was literally fast. I reached mid halfway, and my half I beat my half marathon PB. I did 135 half marathon, wherein I did 136 in Delhi. So imagine doing a 135 in Boston course.
Rolling,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then that's when
Delhi is flat.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's when I thought, okay, just be prepared for the worst now.
You might be seeing that wall now.
Yeah. I saw that wall. I saw that wall. I hopped over that wall.
That's good. That's good.
So, hill was really breaking. So I was going slow on the Heartbreak Hill, 34th kilometer, and then started raining. And then that sudden chill, see, because already went too fast. Okay, so whatever the energy uh, everything was gone. Now I'm like just relying on my mental just two gels, and then my mental strength. And then it started raining. That's when I started feeling really chilly, and then heart rate started shooting up. So it went beyond 190s, and then I'm like, okay, feeling all dizzy, blacking out. So what is happening? So should I stop? Should I take medical helps? And all these thoughts creeping up in my mind. But I'm like, okay, 8 kilometers, somehow let me push.
Right.
So I just kept pushing myself in the last 8 kilometers. So my main goal was, okay, finish, just reach the finish line.
Manage that.
Yeah,
You like you said, you hit that wall, you hopped over it.
yeah.
Amazing, amazing. That is really something, if training for it, dreaming about a race like that, but not everything is smooth sailing, right? Leading up to it, the events that leading up to it were not ideal. Life happened, and then even on the race day, you kind of ended up with botched pacing, but you managed to pull through. But you actually went and did another world major right the next week.
Yeah.
So that was London, right?
Yeah, that was London.
So how did you kind of plan it, and kind of how did you manage two world majors in 2 weekends?
Um, so the most planning which was done for Boston, London was maybe the booking tickets. Other than that, for training, we cannot plan anything, right?
Right.
Because you're doing Boston and London, so you cannot train for Boston separately. You cannot train for London separately. So it has to be either in one
Correct.
training block.
Yeah.
So, so the way training was going, so we decided, okay, let's not just think about London. So we'll park it for after Boston. So we'll just keep it aside now, and then not, get into that, doing a back-to-back long runs and all those things, which usually, typically, someone would do to replicate the races. But I did not do any of such. So I thought, okay, London, we will keep it aside. Let's see how the Boston goes, and then we will decide. So after Boston happened, it was okay. Again, I got to learn that, okay, I did a mistake. Okay, and you were supposed to sprint on the Boylston Street, but no, you were just crawling on the Boylston Street. You've got your learnings, so now you have to carry it to the next race. Okay, how would you do that? So I just focused on my recovery. But you have to travel from one country to the other.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a time zone difference, and then you're going to stay in a hotel. Okay, the food is not ideal that you would want to. There's
Right.
no massage. Okay, there's no, I mean, there's no, what is that, ice bath or nothing. Okay, so typically what is needed for recovery.
Right.
So you don't have all such sort, but whatever we can do. Okay, so first thing is keeping myself calm. Okay, don't overthink about the race. It's okay. You're going for just another marathon, so don't overthink. Just keep yourself calm. So what are the things that in your control? Okay, so maybe foam rolling. Okay, maybe doing some mobility, going for walks, going for jogs. So these are the things that you can control. Maybe sleep more. Whenever you get time, sleep more. So that is one recovery thing that you can get in,
Right.
more than anything, right? So I just focused on those aspects in those 5 days. Apart from travel and everything, meeting friends, London.
Yeah, you have to,
roaming
you are in
around
a
as
place, you
well.
have to look
Yeah,
around as well,
yeah.
right? And meet friends.
Right.
Yeah.
So there are so many people in London, so many known runners in London. So you want to meet everyone, talk to everyone. So apart from that, so whatever the time I got, I made sure that I rest well. So how much ever I can manage eating healthy. So that's how that 5 days were managed. And then London, I said, okay, I'm not going to take it easy. So because I said, I think I wrote in my post as well that so whatever your mind believes, that's what your body replicates, right? So if you keep saying that, okay, I'm going to take it easy, I'm going to take it easy, your body is
Body
going
will
to go
expect
easy,
it.
yeah. So it's not going to support you
Right.
on the race day, right? So I kept saying myself, okay, I'm going to give my best. Okay, let's see whatever happens.
Right.
So what minimum target is what? At least I'm going to go for 3:30. Okay, so that is what I'm going to start with.
Right.
So later, if I feel fatigue, if I get cramps, whatever, so we'll just tackle that at that point.
Right.
Okay, if it fails, it fails. I'm ready to fail, but I'm not going to fail from the start line.
Right.
I'll give
We'll
my
cross that bridge when it will come to
yeah,
it.
exactly. So let me just go as much as body support. After that, okay, we're not able to do, so okay, walk and finish.
Right.
Okay, but at least you're going to try this.
Yeah.
So that's what I had conversation with Shreyas as well, that okay, this is what is the plan. So he said, okay, remember Boston, what you did.
Don't get carried
Yeah,
away
don't
with the
get
sea.
carried away.
Yeah.
Just stick to your pace. So that's what happened in London. I did not look at anybody. So no pacing bus, no people, nothing. So I just kept looking at my watch. And then good thing London had this blue line. So I just kept focusing on the blue line because Boston I had run 42.8 kilometers. We will navigate through so much, and then so the extra distance it matters a lot
Yeah.
in a marathon. So I kept following the blue line. I did not focus on anything, just the kilometer by kilometer. Okay, this kilometer went well, just focus on the next kilometer. So that's how it went. And then it was I think it was more of a mental game.
Right.
Yeah, it was more of a mental game because there was no way that body could completely recover and then you can run at that pace again in 6 days.
Right.
But it was more of that mental power, which I was manifesting that okay, this is how it has to be, this is how it has to be. So that's when I could really feel that. I mean, when I recollect London race, I think I was in some other
Zone. Yeah.
some other zone. Yeah, I was telling that okay, some different force is it's just carrying me. It's not me running; it's just carrying me. So it was that kind of a feeling when I was running. Last 4 kilometers, I've realized okay, it's going well. I think Now I'm not going to fail.
Right.
So last 4 kilometers, that's when I started picking up, and then okay.
So you did another 322,
I did 323,
323.
321. So Boston was 322.40, and this was 323.21. So
Amazing. Yeah. So you know, sticking to like not overthinking and kind of staying positive, and also not kind of giving up on having a good day there.
yeah,
Right, that is really important, and not getting overwhelmed by the whole environment, right? So I think you did a fantastic job there.
I couldn't believe myself. I couldn't believe myself that after crossing the finish line, I was like, hey, what just happened?
Right.
Yeah, so it was like a dream, you know. So is it a dream? Did I run this in my dreams?
Right.
So that kind of a feeling. I couldn't believe myself
Right.
because I didn't know that I could do that.
Yeah, when you get into a zone like that, right? Even for if at an ITT that goes individual time trial that goes well, I wouldn't remember anything. Almost like I've started, I finished, something happened in between, right? But something really good happened.
Yeah.
That zone, you are just
Exactly.
flying, you are into the rhythm of, there are no thoughts that you are fighting. You are not fighting your mind, you are not fighting those negative thoughts. You are just there,
Just
focusing on one step at a time, right? Amazing. So
it was a great feeling.
great. So you know y- you have done so well over all these marathons and stuff, and what I kind of understand from you know uh, your journey is that the strength and conditioning aspect played a really big part in the whole journey.
Absolutely.
So let us talk a little bit about that, the importance of strength and conditioning. What are the kind of routine that you kind of follow yeah, to improve your or aid your running?
Yeah. So what happens is we should just focus on what works for us. Okay, so there could be like 100 methods of training. There could be 100 methods, 100 plans you will find for a marathon training. Okay, so how I train for my marathon could be something else a person in Kenya trains for a marathon. Okay, so because everybody is different genetically, okay, and everybody's routine is different, everybody's different by profession, everybody's family is different, right? So priorities are different. So you'll have to work on what works for you. Okay.
Each of us have our own journeys,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. So we'll have to identify what is working out for me. So somebody is doing 100 kilometers a week. So can you do that? Okay. Is it required for you? First of all, is it required for you? Can you do that? Okay. Can you accommodate that in your, day-to-day routine? Can you accommodate 100 kilometers? No, right? I mean, for me, it was definitely not possible. With the kind of a routine I have, because with the coaching and everything, so I cannot do 100 kilometers a week. I know I cannot, physiologically I cannot take that kind of a mileage. Okay, now the next thing what I can focus, keeping up the strength. Okay, so I can do strength training. Okay, so maybe a good quality strength training 2 times, 3 times a week. So that is what can give me strength. Okay, even if I'm not running high mileages, maybe this can support my body. Okay, to run at that pace or something. Okay, to do back to back or to run at that pace. So strength training is going to help me. So that is what I focus more on. Okay, and focusing on key workouts. Okay, so what is my weak area? Okay, so focusing on the key workouts, not like doing a 2 hour strength training also. Sticking to 60 minutes. Okay, in that quality workouts, what you can do. So something which is really supportive for running. Okay, so that is what I
Because
completely focused.
there are like practically like thousands and thousands of workouts that one
Yeah,
can do, right? There are so many variations of each workout and
exactly.
all that, so it can become overwhelming. Then
Yeah.
you kind of have to focus on what
What
is
is,
essential for
yes,
our improvement and all.
what is essential, and then what is your weakness? First of all, identifying your weakness, and then
Right.
which is required for your weakness.
Hmm.
Okay, to strengthen that particular weak spot.
Right.
So that is what was my focus. Okay, and so yeah, pretty much I kept the same routine.
Hmm.
Okay, it was not and strength training mostly by myself. So doing
What does that routine look like?
so Monday, Wednesday, Friday is strength training.
Hmm.
Tuesday is easy short run. Thursdays are mostly long runs, and Sunday is a speed workout. Saturdays are mostly rest. Saturdays mostly nothing. I mean, just do mobility or something. Otherwise, just the rest day.
Right.
Sundays are my speed workout. So
Mhm.
this is how the routine was. So I kept it generally that way. Um, just 60 minutes of strength, including whatever mobility is required and the strength is required, and running plans. So for three days or 4 days, that's all that maximum. So
What does your strengths, your typical strength session look like? What are your identified weaknesses, and what kind of help you address those?
yeah, for me, the weak spot is my glutes.
Hmm.
Okay, so long back I had this osteoid bone tumor in my right hip.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so in 2017, so I got it removed, but then my hip mobility is not that good. So because of that, my hip I mean, it gets tightened like very often. So I have to keep working on that. So one thing is, getting regular massages for that, doing regular foam rolling for it, and also strengthening the glutes.
Mhm.
So that is what was much needed for me, so that condition does not go worse and then I get into some injury. So I focus more on glute strengthening.
Mhm.
So that gives me power as well. So you say that, right?
Yeah.
For glutes are runners, the main motors.
Right.
So it gives me power as well. So I focus more on glute strengthening, and also the workouts that I usually take for others, or I do myself. It's the same kind of workout, whatever I take for my trainees,
Mhm.
same workout itself I do for myself.
Right.
So it's the same routine. So mostly focusing on the entire body. I mean, there's nothing like a isolated workout. So
Right.
everything is always the compound workout. So it's not, you'll be working on multiple muscle groups in a workout.
Okay.
Because we want to, develop that kind of a focus. Okay, while running, you're not just on your feet, right? Your entire body mechanism is working when you're running.
Mhm.
So that is what is replicated in the strength training as well.
Right.
So that was my main routine.
Excellent. Excellent.
Doing some mobility activation and then the main workout. So that's how I focused.
Super. So, what does your nutrition, look like, and what do you kind of rely on?
So mostly, so I've become vegan since last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been a vegetarian, and then after that, I've become vegan in last 2 years. So um, my main, I mean, I don't like eating sweets
Mm-hmm.
or junk.
Oh, you are so lucky. You don't
Yeah,
like
I don't
eating
like
sweets?
eating.
Okay.
So, my main food is, this regular, Indian breakfast, or rice, roti, dal, vegetables. Just this regular home food. I mean, I'm not a fan of, all fancy food or anything. I just vegan in the sense I want this, pure, just home cooked style kind of a food. I don't go for, something like a vegan pasta or a
Right.
vegan pizza just because I'm vegan. I kind I don't like that kind of a food group. I'm mostly into this Indian food, roti, mainly rice. I'm a South Indian, so a rice eater. So rice was my main fuel for my long runs and tempo runs and everything. And vegetables. Give me any vegetable I can eat.
Right.
Yeah, fruits, vegetables, dal. So these are the main food items. Nothing else. I mean, literally nothing else. I take protein shake uh, during my training cycle. So whenever I'm in the peak training cycle, I take vegan protein shakes. So that is one thing, and apart from that, nothing much, nothing special.
Great. So, what does your race nutrition look like?
While running.
Say for a marathon, right? While running a race, how do you fuel yourself for the race?
Yeah. So, first thing, it's physically and it's mentally also. Day prior to the marathon, I definitely want to eat rice. Okay, nothing else. I want to eat rice in any form. So rice, and then morning, in the 1 hour or 2 hour before the race, I want peanut butter and bread.
Right.
That is my favorite. Okay, my husband say that, okay, if we give you just peanut butter, bread, and coffee, you can survive.
Right.
So yeah, so I peanut butter, bread, and coffee is my pre-race food, and then during the race, it's 6 gels. Typically 6 gels. So I use Morton gels for the races. So 6 Morton gels and water. Yeah, that's all.
Okay. Okay. So, 6 Morton gels, what is the kind of frequency that you?
Every 7 to 8 kilometers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So, what next on your, goal list?
Yeah, so I'm kind of in a very blank spot right now because just after finishing on marathon, you kind of in that void, right? Okay, what to do
Right.
next?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of in that spot right now. So, but immediately I'm not focusing on any of the marathons right now. Yeah, because it's been like 3 marathons already in this year. So I'm not focusing on any marathons. So my goal is, focusing more on coaching. So how to, um, get into a better quality coaching.
Right.
So focusing on coaching and maybe doing some nutrition. So looking into something right now, so maybe I
Right.
can get into that space, because it's always helpful, right? So if you're guiding somebody with the running and strength, they would also ask about the nutrition. So it's always
Right.
better to have that kind of knowledge. I know that, okay, for us, this is the kind of food that helps, but if somebody having a certification tells that is it sounds more authentic. So I'm going to I'm looking for that. And I'll just focus on some short distance races here, 10K, 21K, so for another 5 to 6 months. Not as a racing, I mean, competitive kind of a thing. I want to just go there, have fun.
Right.
Yeah, maybe pace my trainees. So some of my trainees are going for Berlin this year.
Oh.
So it's kind of, bringing back all the memories.
Right.
So maybe focusing on their training. So that is what is my focus right now.
Awesome, awesome. Uh, this has been a fantastic conversation. To kind of conclude the session, what are some of the tips that you would give working athletes to do well at sport and life?
Yeah, so I want to tell everyone that you first of all, so when you get into running, okay, when you get into any sport, so first of all, you need to understand why are you getting into it. Okay, so what is the motivation? Is it because your neighbor is doing, are you doing that? Is it because of your friend is doing, are you doing that? So it should have, some personal meaning. Why are you doing it? Are losing weight, you have some goal. So work with a coach to identify a goal if you don't have anything. Okay, and keep working towards it. So first and foremost thing which comes is consistency. So you need to be consistent at anything that you do. Okay, do not look for immediate improvement. Okay, immediate improvement may not sustain for a long time. So work gradually towards it. So you want to do something injury free for a long term. Okay, you want to enjoy the process. So be consistent at it, and then start enjoying the process more than getting into some destination. You enjoy the process more.
Right.
So and be very patient. Okay, so these are the main things which I want to, I keep telling everybody, and now I want to tell it through you as well, that, be consistent, be patient.
Right, right. Now, you have been consistent and you've been patient. You have dealt with many kind of obstacles on the course, but sailed through them relatively well, right? So all the very best for your future journey as well. It's been a fantastic conversation. Thank you for
Thank you
taking
so
the time.
much. Thank you so much for having me here. I mean, I felt really great, having this conversation with you, bringing all those memories back, since the childhood till now. So it was really great conversation. Thank you so much, Venki.
Thank you, Deepa. That was my conversation with Deepa. I hope you enjoyed that. If you are enjoying these podcasts and are finding them useful, please consider supporting the podcast by subscribing to it on YouTube as well as on your favorite podcasting app. It really helps. Supporting the sponsors of the podcast is also a great way to support the podcast itself. Thanks again for your continuous support. See you next week with another guest.